Solo World Traveler here. My second trip of 2026 was a 2-day business trip to Austin, Texas. In this episode, I'm going to take you through some tips and tricks for getting through U.S. Customs. I'm going to take you through my tour of the Texas Capitol and a night on 6th Street. And I'm going to give you a couple of reviews of 2 different hotels I stayed at. Let's go. Well, I had just gotten back from my vacation in Cancun, Mexico, and 2 days later I'm back on the road again on my way to the airport to make my way from Toronto, Ontario down to Austin, Texas. This time when I'm coming to Pearson, it's a little bit of a different story. I'm still in Terminal 1 because I'm taking Air Canada flight, but this time I'm going to be going through U.S. Customs and I'm going to be staying on the U.S. Lounge. So let's walk you through that. First and foremost, again, Terminal 1 is a far better terminal than Terminal 3 at Pearson, and for some reason I had to come over and get my actual boarding pass. Not really sure why at this point, but I had to check in and do that. I can do that here quickly, just scan my passport and get my boarding pass printed out, and then I was given full access. I wasn't really sure why, because I can normally just have this on the Air Canada app and show it digitally, but here you go. I used this and then I made my way into the VIP entrance area. This is what priority security gets you. If you have your priority status with Air Canada, you can go through the priority side and then you can walk through and go right up to the front in the security zone. Wasn't a very busy day today at Pearson Airport, so I was able to get through quickly. Then I found out that I had been flagged by the airline for additional security screening. That's why I had to do that, and you can see the red marks on my boarding pass. So I had to go through additional screening, which was kind of annoying. Once I got through immigration, I was able to then go again to the Air Canada Maple Leaf Lounge. Here it's on the 4th floor. This is the U.S. Lounge. So what you can see here, it's not quite as nice as the Maple Leaf Lounge in the International Terminal, but there is still lots of seating. I find that this one is far busier. It was way more people than the International Lounge for sure, and that's obviously due to the amount of business travelers that travel normally through Canada in the U.S. Obviously today, with the tensions between the U.S. and Canada, there's a little bit less travel between countries, but when it comes to business travel, it really is the same amount of business travelers I find are still heading between the 2 countries as per normal. I chilled out here. I was about an hour early before check-in, so I enjoyed a coffee and enjoyed the view and got myself prepared for my trip. Pearson Terminal 1, they have announced, is going to have a $100 million renovation up in the years ahead. And while it is open and larger and much nicer than Terminal 3, it is starting to show its age a little bit. And they have done some things, particularly on the U.S. side, for U.S. departures, that is a little bit annoying, and that's the lack of seating. What you'll see here is they've turned all of these waiting areas outside of each of the gates into these little restaurant slash cafe areas. So you can't even sit up at the bar area there unless you order something. So there's not a ton of seats. I found that to be annoying. I really hope they change that. After a short wait, I was finally able to board my flight. Once again, I got an exit row because of my 50K status automatically upgraded. That gave me extra room. There's lots of capacity in the exit rows. From my earlier video, this is why I don't think there should be, you should worry about upgrades to business class if you have to pay for it. If you need to pay for it, and it's really not worth it because the exit row has tons of leg room and the service isn't that much different, especially for a flight like this when I don't plan to eat a meal. When we landed in Austin, Texas, I found this neat. This is a little people mover, little kind of miniature bus that you have to get into to go from the terminal over to where the Uber picks you up. This is my Uber driver, and then finally I made it over to the Residence Inn and Marriott Courtyard. I was actually staying on the Courtyard side. I'm going to give you a full review of the 2 different hotels. I was there for 2 nights, and I had to stay at 2 different properties. This was for a work-related reason, but I wanted to show you the 2. The Marriott Courtyard by Marriott, right in downtown Austin, Texas, is actually really nice. It's brand new. It's sparkling clean, and as you can see, there's a big open lobby. This is my room, and I have to say I was really impressed It is more on the basic side, and it's more of a budget hotel. But look at this. It has a carpet and laminate flooring. I've never really seen that in a hotel, and I've been in lots of them, and I thought that was a really nice touch because I always prefer carpet. This is the entertainment area, and it was all, again, brand new. They gave you a nice big fridge for you to use. They also had a microwave, which I found interesting considering this is more of a businessy kind of hotel right downtown. There's your safe. And again, it was open area and really, really clean. And you could tell that they had done a recent renovation. I'm not sure what year the reno is, but they did a lot of work. You can tell that this was or is an older hotel that was renovated. The way you can tell that, by the shower stall. If you look at shower stalls or in particular tubs, this is a good old-fashioned white tub there, and really look closely, you can tell because they usually don't renovate the tubs. Those are the last things they usually renovate. Here's the closet. I also thought there was lots of closet space. There's my iron and ironing board that I use for my suits. This is the view out of the hotel room. Overall, I thought it was really nice. After I checked in, I had some time to kill, and I was only 2 blocks away from 6th Street. This is a pretty popular street and a pretty famous street right in downtown that runs right through the middle of downtown Austin. It's separated into 3 parts. I did a more of a deep dive into this street on another video, but basically this section of 6th Street right in the middle is referred to as the Dirty Sixth. And that's because there are so many different bars, restaurants, nightclubs, and there's like the cowboy theme. So you can go out and you can get on a mechanical bull. You can listen to dance parties. There's tons of live music and live bands. Cool names like the Blind Pig and the Dizzy Rooster, Friends, Shakespeare's. This is the Driscoll Hotel, which is a very historic hotel also, where you can get more of a fine upscale bar experience. You can also stay at this hotel. It's a very historic hotel property right off 6th Street, right in the heart of downtown Austin, Texas. After I walked around 6th Street for a bit and just took in the sights, I decided to go back to my hotel, and this is the Champion Sports Bar that is actually right in the hotel, which was very convenient. It seems to be a brand new, open kind of sports bar theme. I sat down and I got a pretty basic menu, but I got a nice lunch here. I got a couple tacos and a Caesar salad. It was pretty good, especially for the money. It was pretty affordable. I think it was only 25 bucks. Here's 6th Street again, and this is a night shot, and as you can see, the street really does come to life. On the weekends, this is packed with college students. So if you're an older traveler, I wouldn't recommend coming here maybe on the weekend late at night. But if you come earlier in the day or if you come in the evening, you can really get some random good live music. This duo here are sisters, and they were literally playing for tips, and they were talking to the crowd. They had some originals. They were playing covers as well. They were really friendly, and they were pretty good, kind of a folky country mix. And the bartender was really friendly, and this was a place that was literally 2 blocks from my hotel. The beer prices were reasonable. This is another place. It was called a dueling pianos place called Darwin's, and these guys were kind of funny. I asked them to play a Canadian song by the Bare Naked Ladies, and they tried to do it. They literally just asked the crowd, and they try to play any song you tell them. Sometimes it doesn't go so well, but I thought it gave them props for trying to knock that out. A song that one of them, actually the drummer, didn't even know what the song it was, and only heard of Bare Naked Ladies once. So the fact that they did it, and the lead singer and piano player did a pretty good job. And I had a couple beers here and really just enjoyed the show. And some other people came in. It is pretty touristy, but if you like this kind of thing, it was pretty enjoyable, and it was relaxing right after my long trip. After that, it was time to go back to my hotel. I took a little video of this. This is the walk-in from the hotel at night. It really looks nice in the evening time, and it's a big open lobby, as I said before. I was going to pack it in and get ready. I got to get prepared for my work stuff tomorrow, as well as a tour of the Capitol, which I will take you on right now. Austin, Texas is the capital of Texas. Texas state itself actually gained independence from Mexico in 1836 and then joined the United States of America in 1845. So it was an independent republic from 1836 to 1845. And the Capitol building itself has its own pretty interesting history. It includes the Capitol building is the largest Capitol building in America by square footage, and it's also primarily built using pink granite. As we approached the east entrance of the Capitol building, we were told that Texas is only one of 4 states where its legislature only meets every other year, and for only about 144 days every other year. That's very different. I thought that was interesting. Once we entered the building, we went through security, but Texas is a conceal carry gun licensed state. So if you just show them your license to conceal a weapon, you're allowed to walk right through. The first place they took us in the building was into this grand rotunda. It is a beautiful piece of architecture that's a couple hundred feet tall, and it has on the walls paintings of every previous Texas governor, dating all the way back to 1836. And you can actually go up the different floors, and as you go up the floors, the Texas governors get older. So the most recent Texas governors are over here on this side, right by the main entrance. I'll also point out that only 2 Texas governors have been female, and there have been no visible minorities. There are also no term limits for Texas governors, and that's a good thing because the guide told us they only have 6 more available spots on the wall all the way up to the top of the rotunda for the governors, and they'll have to start replacing them, but that could last another 50 years. Lyndon Johnson was a Texas senator and congressman before becoming president of the United States, but the only governor of Texas to become president was this guy right here, George W. Bush. He actually was Texas governor when he ran for the presidency of the United States. The Texas Capitol has both a floor for the Senate as well as a floor for the House of Representatives. This is a view of the Senate side and the floor there, and all the beautiful architecture and the paintings on the wall, and the guide really took us through a lot of the history of all of the paintings and all of the architecture, including the lights which have the word Texas etched into them. This is a close-up of the House of Representatives, the main seat there, and the historical paintings, both in the background on either side of them. The one in the middle is related to the Texas flag. I won't get into that history for this or about the politics. You can see the voting walls on each side of this floor, as well as the seats themselves, and there's little apparatus and technology etched into each seat that help for the voting process. For the last part of the tour, they took us through the basement, and it has a really elaborate basement that has been built out to provide extra office space, as well as this place that has walls of honor, honoring past soldiers and other historical figures in Texas independence. Here's some pictures I took of the desks and the seats in the legislature. Overall, it was a really great tour. I highly recommend it. Our guide did a great job. After my workday was over, it was time to check into my second hotel on this trip. This is the Austin Downtown Marriott, not the Courtyard by Marriott. It is a bit nicer hotel, but this review of the hotel is going to be a little bit different. It has a beautiful, open, modern-looking lobby area here with a couple of different lobby bars available for people to have a beverage at, and it is a little bit more upscale than the Courtyard, and it's only about 3 blocks away from the Courtyard by Marriott. Here's my room at the Marriott Austin Hotel. Again, it's modern, it's very clean, and it is nice, but it's not quite as nice as the Courtyard, I have to say. The bathroom was weird. You kind of walked through the bathroom as you walked into the room, with the shower and the toilet on the right, and then the sink and the vanity and such on the left. I found that kind of weird. And then you walked further on into the room itself. The room itself wasn't quite as big as the Courtyard by Marriott, and while it had nice fixtures and very clean and it was nicely appointed, it just didn't seem like it was as spacious and quite as nice. As you'll see, the floors are also laminate floors. They didn't have the carpet laminate mix, which I personally is a pet peeve of mine. I don't like laminate floors in hotels. I just don't. And the bed wasn't actually quite as comfortable as the Courtyard by Marriott. It had a nice desk, and it had a really nice big open TV with an entertainment system that was top notch. But I have to say, if I were to compare the two properties, They were only 3 blocks away from each other. The Marriott Austin Hotel is going to be more expensive than the Courtyard by Marriott. So if you're planning on traveling to Austin, Texas, and you're looking at Marriott properties, have a look at the Courtyard by Marriott. It's going to be less expensive, and it's arguably nicer than the Marriott Hotel. Once my workday was done, we concluded with a reception back up on 6th Street. This venue is back up right on the middle part of 6th Street, which is affectionately known as the Dirty Sixth. But this is earlier in the evening. It's not late at night, so the bars aren't too crazy, and it was a really nice end to the day overall, and a nice end to my trip. As I walked home from the reception, I almost tripped over one of these guys, but check this out. These are mobile Uber Eats delivery robots. They literally go to restaurants, pick up your order, and then they will drive to your condo or your residence, and they will drop it off to you. This is crazy. I spent about 25 minutes walking around and following these guys. I was so curious to see what this does. We have nothing like this in Toronto. I think they do this here in the warmer climate. After my full 2-day work trip was done, I was able to make my way back home. We made our way through a snowstorm, so the flights were delayed, but I got back to Canadian Customs A-OK. If you like this video, please click subscribe and click like. Follow me for great tips, travel advice, and destinations around the world at Solo World Traveler 44.